Hey coders, how's it going guys? Today actually we're going to be looking at this hard problem by Amazon. So it's marketing campaign success. How can we actually go about solving this problem? So we are told that you have a table of in-app purchases by user. Let's have a look at that table. This is the table. So we have ID, created ad, product, quantity, price, and that's all. Cool. So which means that when they say that a table of in-app purchase by user, it means that this user purchased a product ID. So this is the quantity and this is the price. Makes sense so far. We are told that users that make their first in-app purchases are placed in a marketing campaign. So if you buy a product, then you will be in the marketing campaign. So that marketing campaign is where these users will see call to action for more in-app purchases. Okay. Find a number of users that made additional in-app purchases due to the success of marketing campaign. Okay, this is our objectives. So as usual, guys, you know what I like to do is like just to kind of like understand the problem more. I follow a specific guideline of solving problems. So the first one is problem understanding. So we need to understand this problem more and clear, understand the language, understand the concept that they're using. So what I'm seeing here, we are told that users that make their first in-app purchases are placed in the marketing campaign. So I'm just gonna write that down because it's very important for understanding the problem. So users that essentially make their purchases, right, are placed in the marketing campaign. Okay, so what is this marketing campaign? Okay, so we will understand that. So because now these users are inside this marketing campaign, so these users will be able to see call to action, right, for more in-app purchases. So what this means is that after these users have made their first purchase, which now they will be in the, sorry guys, I forgot to zoom in, sorry about that. So after these users have made their first purchase, then they will be in the marketing campaign. The same users will, because now they're in the marketing campaign, now they will be able to see call to action for more in-app. But what is this call for action? What does that mean? So in my own way, in my own understanding, I think of this as a prompt on a website, on an app that pops up to remind you of something. That's my simple English of understanding. So it's like, you know, something pops up on the website, maybe say buy this product, something like that. That's what call to action means. So okay, makes sense. So with that, now I kind of like have a clear understanding of the problem. What is it that we have to do then? Because we understand the kind of like all the stuff. So we are told, which is, I'm just gonna write it here, objectives. So we are told that we need to find the users with additional purchases due to the marketing campaign. So in simple English, guys, what this means is that because you know the users purchased, right? The user purchased, right? So what happened is that they are placed in the marketing campaign. So we want to know how efficient our marketing campaign is. So how we do that is that we're going to find these users purchased again. Did these users purchase again? So if they did, then that means our marketing campaign is working, right? So we need to Find users that bought for the second time. In simple English, find users that bought. In simple English, find users that bought for the second time. That's it. That's what they mean actually. We haven't read the problem, all of it. Just read this part. I usually leave this part and think it's admin, but sometimes it's important to read it because it influences how you write your code. The marketing campaign doesn't start until one day after the initial in-app purchases, so that the user that only made one or multiple purchases say do not count. Okay, that's constraints. I like to, our objectives comes with constraints. They come with buts. So what this means is that what they mean here is that, okay, the user should purchase on different day. In simple English, so if the user purchased on the first day, it doesn't count. So let's say, remember that when the user purchase, we put them in the marketing campaign, but on the first day it does not count. And even if they buy multiple products on the first day, it still does not count. That's what they mean. So here we should mean that find users that bought the second time, but it must not be on the same day, right? So I hope you guys kind of like get this constraint. I hope I made it easy. It should be on a different day. It's like, think about it. You bought something at Amazon today, then it's your first time buying it. We don't count it as marketing campaign because it was not part of the call to action. You just decided to buy it. But when you come back tomorrow, you buy, we're gonna count it because we had that prompt call to action thing popping up to you. Okay. What do they say? They say that nor do we count users that over time purchase only the product. Okay, makes sense. So in simple English, it should be a different product. In simple English, it should be a different product. Find users that bought for the second time, but it should be a different product. So what this means is that if today you bought it's your first time buying a milk at Amazon, and you come tomorrow buy milk, it won't count as in our marketing campaign. It won't count. So we want you to buy something different. Okay. Now guys, I feel like we have a solid understanding of the problem, the constraints, everything, the objectives, and what we need to do. Can we come up with a solution then? Yes, we can. So what we do is that, what I'm seeing here is that we need to find the user that made app purchases due to the success of them. So because of this, I'll say, how about we convert our data into a day granularity. So the reason I'm doing this is because we are told also that the marketing campaign doesn't start until one day after an initial app. So this day here, it keeps on popping up. And when I look at my data, it's in the time granularity. So I want to make it to be a day granularity. So that is just something that is going to help me convert data to day granularity. So that is just something that I think it will be useful as we solve the problem. Okay, cool. Now that we're gonna be having the data on the granularity level, right? So I'm thinking that we can probably order by user and date. So what I'm saying here is that because we're going to have a user and we're going to have a date, so it's going to be 10, then it's going to have all the date. So this way we know this user purchased on this day, then they purchased again on this day, then they purchased on this day. So we're ordering it. So you can think of like user 10 purchased on day 1, user 10 purchased on day 2, user 10 purchased on day 3. So we're just ordering this. User 11 purchased on day 1, user 12. So just like that. That's what we're going to do. So the reason we're doing this is because when they are ordered, we can be able to see the sequence of the user purchases with days. So this is going to be way too easy now to kind of like solve. So remember that what I'm doing here is that I'm trying to like do things which I think are going to help us solve the problem much easier. So we haven't started with the solution. I'm just like treating the data in such a way that when we're going to start like with the solution, the data is being formatted in a very easy way to manipulate. So that's why I'm starting with this small solutions as I'm taking with you now. So we can order by user and date in ascending order. So it's fine, right? Now that we're going to be having the user, the second thing that we can do is that we can now rank the user. So for example, day 1, we can say this is 1. Day 2 can say this is 2. Day 3, this is 3. We can, because we're gonna do a window function, we can order by, we're gonna say where, you can also use them. Yeah, we can use the group by, but we'll see as we go on. But this is the idea, because the solution, we're just designing at the high level. Then as we code, we're gonna get into too much detail. But here the solution now is that, okay, we're gonna just give this 1, we're gonna give this 2. So where there's a unique combination of user and date, it's gonna give an ID. I will show you, everything will make sense, trust me. For now, just know that we just like sketching the solutions. So that's the goal. So we can group by or apply a window function. We'll see which one is going to be suitable for the job based on user ID and the date that we created here on the first one and the date that we created there. And this is just to separate or to distinguish between the days user purchased, right? To differentiate the day the user purchased. Makes sense, right? So the last thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna count how many times that occurred. So sometimes you can think of your solution as agile. Sometimes you're just writing this at the high level, you're just drafting nothing. So by agile, I mean you're gonna iterate, you're gonna change it, you're gonna refine it. It's fine. It's okay. At this point, we're just making sense of everything. So now, guys, it's time to code. So the first thing that we're gonna do, guys, is that we're just gonna try to, like we said, we're just gonna try to order and create a day column. So like I said, these type of transformations, essentially, they help me to prepare the data in such a way that it's going to be easy to manipulate it. So I'm just gonna try to minimize this so that we can be able to see the code in a clear way. So this is what I'm going to get, whereby we have a day. So we created this column day from this created at column. So this column was in a time granularity, and we don't necessarily work with time. I care about day, so that when I do operations such as group by, I know that I'm grouping by based on day. This is going to be helpful as we go on with the problem. You'll see why. So what we can do, we said we just want to order. The significance of ordering is because we can be able to see the users, their sequence of purchasing the product by day. So because if we want to order by user ID and the day, we're just going to create a list. So it's going to be user ID and day, and this is what we're going to have. So what you're seeing here, it's an order. So you can see that we have an ordered table whereby we see that, okay, user 10 purchased on the first day, user 10 purchased on the second day, user 10 purchased on the 31st, user 11 purchased on the second, user 11 purchased on the 31st. But the significance of this is that we can see that the user purchased on this day, then they came back and purchased on this. So it's ordered. So this way it's much easier to work with. Remember that the goal is to be able to group them and rank these. So as we do that, transformation is going to be much easier. So the third step, like we said, is to group this. So what we want to do by group or applying a window function, kind of like explain my thoughts here, is that we want to say, let me show you the table. So we want to say for given user, they purchased on the first day. So we want to represent this purchase as 1. This user, they purchased on the second day. We're going to say 2. This user purchased on the 31st. That is 3. This user purchased on this is another user, 11. So it's a new user. So we're going to have to say 1. So they purchased here, it's going to be 1. This user purchased on the 31st is going to be 1. The point of doing this is just to say, let's represent the first days, the second time they purchased, the third time they purchased. If they purchased multiple times, for example, if we look at 25, they purchased on the same day. You can see that they purchased on the 22nd, and they came again and purchased on the 2nd. So they purchased 2 times in a day. So what this means is that is gonna be 1, because we're grouping by don't forget we're grouping by also the day. So it's gonna treat that row as one thing. So it's gonna assign it the 1 rank. Hope that kind of like gives you guys perspective. The significance of us adding 1 and doing that, it is because we can actually be able to filter those, because they said that 1 does not count. So I'm going to explain some of the stuff if you're still confused as we go on. So user and purchases. So what we do is that we say, like I said, I copied this table. I'm just going to group by user ID. Then I'm just going to say as index equals to false. I'm going to take the created at, running out of space. Just going to do that. And I'm going to use this function called rank. So you can think of it as a window function. It's similar to the function in SQL whereby you're creating number of rows. So then you partition by probably a specific category. So it's the same thing if you're coming from an SQL background. So we're going to use the main function method. So, but what are we doing here? Let me show you the table. Then you will understand what that code does. Then I'll explain it in more details. But what we're doing here is that we're just doing this simple thing. We're saying for user 10, give it a rank of 1. For user 10 second day purchase, give it a rank of 2. User 10 third time purchase, give it a rank of 3. User 11 first time purchase, give it a rank of 1. So we're ranking users purchases. So if like you purchase today, you're gonna be 1. You come back, you purchase tomorrow, you're gonna be 2. You come back, you purchase after 3 months, you're gonna be 3. So we rank your purchases, or we assign them like a continuous ID, a sequence for all of the users. So, but however, if you purchase on the same day twice, we're gonna assign you 1 1. For example, 25 here, we can see that they purchased on the 22nd, we assign them 1 1, because on the same day, like the equation said, it doesn't count. So that's why we're doing that, which is quite cool. Okay, but now some of you might be, why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to filter where there is 1, because 1, we know that they bought on the first day, right? Kind of like remind ourselves of the equation. So we're told that the marketing campaign doesn't start until 1 day after the initial app purchase in app purchases. So users that only made up 1 purchase or multiple purchases on the first day do not count. So from our table where you see 1, that is the first day. So that means we don't need 1. Okay. So we can do that, but there is something that we need to take care of, right? So which is, because I want to write code in such a way that we know all the other constraints. So I'm just gonna show you what I mean. So we are told that nor do we count users that over time purchase only the product they purchased on the first day. You see that point there? That's what is gonna change our code, because it was gonna be easy now. We're just gonna remove all the rows whereby there's 1, but now because of that we can't. So what they're saying is that the user 10, if they purchased this product, then they come again tomorrow, they purchase the same product, it does not count. It does not count as a marketing campaign, right? So which means that we're gonna need to save the rows of where the user purchased on the first day, and we're gonna need to save the table where the user did not purchase on the first day. So we're gonna pretty much divide and conquer this problem, right? So that's how I'm thinking of it. This might not be maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys have better solutions, but I'm just gonna do it this way, right? So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna say take the marketing campaign, take this, then take the rank, I think it's called the rank user purchases column, and just filter it whereby it's not equals to 1. So it's gonna give me all the users. I'm gonna call this user purchases. It's a bad name, but it's okay, guys. I'm gonna call this user purchase, and I'm gonna copy this. So I'm just kind of like separating between the first day purchases and all the purchases that are on the first day. To remind you why I'm doing this, it is because I want to filter all the product that were purchased on the first day. So this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna say user not purchases, I think. I'm gonna call this something like that. Then we're gonna say equals to 1. So you can think of this as we filter in this table. So we're gonna have users not purchase. Then we're just gonna run this. This is what we have. So these are all the purchases that we made on the first day for all the users, right? And this here, it's all the purchases that were made on the following days, right? But these purchases, some of these purchases might not count, because we are told that if the users purchase the same product as they purchased on the first day, it does not count. So what we need to do, we have 2 tables. We need to use an anti-join. I don't know if there's this function in Python, and I don't know if it's there. So I don't know. We need to mimic, then we're gonna mimic an anti-join. How can we do that? So I'm gonna say, because I know that I wanna delete all the product that were purchased on the first day, right? I wanna delete them from the user purchase table. So what I can do in case is that I can say user not purchase. I can create a column called delete. Then I'm gonna set it to yes. So I'm mimicking an anti-join. Remember that an anti-join is that when you have two columns, so it's the opposite of inner join, so to speak. And I don't think there might be a function in Python to do that. I'm not sure. I don't know, but I'm just gonna mimic what the function does. So we're gonna take the user purchase. I'm just gonna join this. So I'm just gonna say dot match with user not purchased. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna match them on. This is very important. We wanna match them based on the user ID, and we wanna match them on the product ID, because remember that we are told that nor do we count the users that over time purchase only the product that they purchased on the first day. So we're saying that if because of this table represent all the purchases that have been made on the first day, is that then we just want to join based on that. It's gonna show all the product that were bought on the following days that were bought on the first day, if that makes sense. So we're just gonna say product, I think it was called product ID. Then we're gonna do a left join. So I'm just mimicking an anti-join. So now, which means that I'm just gonna have to do, I'm just gonna call this full data set. To set, which means that I can actually copy this, and what I'm gonna do now is that I'm just gonna say full data set. So I'm just gonna say select all. Actually, let me show you how the data looks like. So I just want to remove all the rows whereby delete equals to yes. So my thought here is that, so all the users, let me show you. You see here, this user here, essentially they have a product that they purchased on the following day, but that product was purchased on the first day. So we want to remove it. So how do we remove it? Because we created this column called delete, which we say yes. So where there is yes, because we join on product ID, so we know that it's gonna remove the correct rows. So it's an anti-join type of, I'm simulating an anti-join, you can say. So which means that I'm just gonna say full join, then take the delete column and just say I just want the rows where it's not equals to yes. Okay, let me know guys if my explanations kind of like make sense. I'll really appreciate the feedback. I know like some of these concepts might not be clear to some of you. So this is all the full data set that we have. I think I said user ID. Let's see. It says delete. I think it's, yeah, I think I call it delete. Okay, cool. Now, guys, our data looks fine. So we have met all the conditions here. Let me remind you all of all the, so the campaign doesn't start until day one. Yes, we did that by removing all the ones that I showed you how we can get. Then they said, no, we can't use that made multiple purchases. We just did that with the anti-join because we divided and conquered the problem by creating two tables whereby for the user that purchased on the first day and the users that purchased on the subsequent day. Then we tried to anti-join this because we didn't want the product that the user bought on the first day because that doesn't count. Now, I feel like the problem is solved. So we are told that find the number of users that made additional. So that was the objectives. So which means that we can just do something like dot value count. I think just count the number of rows. I think it should work. What is it? It's no, actually no, I'm doing it the wrong way because there's multiple duplicate there. So I think I should just say sorry about that, guys. User dot, because remember that we need to count all the unique IDs. For example, you see there's 10, so we need to count all the number of users. So you don't necessarily have to count the number of rows. So if you do something like shape 0, it's gonna give you 29, which is not correct. Let's check. It's not. So because of those duplicates, so what you need to do is that you need to say user ID, I think, dot n unique, there's a function 23, and the solution works. We solve the problem. Pretty sweet. So yeah, I think that will do it, guys. That was the solution. Let me know what you think, and really appreciate your feedback. Thanks. Bye.